Hello, everybody.
There's actually this talk.
You're here, Bob, of course.
Bob is hot. Bob is very hot.
Welcome to BSD is Dying. No, it's not dead yet. We're getting there. Anybody out here last year? Okay, I did have a really bad talk on PF, and I appreciate Bob coming out and correcting me this year. So, anyways, we should go ahead and get started. BSD is dying. What is BSD? Well, I think most of us know BSD is a derivative of Unix. Okay, well, what is Unix? Unix is an operating system. What is an operating system? It runs computers. But what's the computer? It helps users deal with tasks. What's the user? Okay, well, a user is typically a biped that stands upright, sort of like me.
Stand upright?
Who am I? My name is Jason Dixon. First and foremost, a sysadmin. I like to work on networks, firewalls. I like to tweak. No. Yes. I'm a programmer, sort of. I enjoy Perl, Postgres, on Apache servers. I'm a consultant here. I'm an employee here, and a lover of BSD. Why am I here?
That's the question I've been asking myself.
To talk about why BSD is dying. Sex and greed. Someone kick these guys out, please. Okay, so again, what is BSD? What is Unix? What is an operating system? What is a computer? Computer is a device that computes, especially a programmable electronic machine that performs high-speed mathematical and logical operations that assembles, stores, correlates, or otherwise processes information. This is a computer. This is also known as a computer. This is a really big computer. This is a fake big computer. And sometimes this can, well, compute. But what does a computer really do? It helps us write documents. Shopping lists. Sometimes we can even delete documents. Helps us work with email, surf the web, movies, and listen to music. Oh, and yes, games. How does a computer let us do these things? Well, it takes the written word, and using the computer compiler, we can translate it into machine language. That is the foundation for kernel libraries, user-land applications, otherwise known as an operating system, like BSD. What is a kernel? It's a wonderful thing. It allows the management of processes, memory, peripheral devices, and by extension allows us to do networking, security, work with disk and file systems, user interfaces, user-land applications, like the ability to write documents, you check your email, surf the web, watch movies, listen to music, and play games. And much, much more. So in summary, BSD is a Unix-derived operating system. It enables users to harness the power of a computer to process information, uses a kernel to manage process memory and peripheral devices, and by extension we can perform networking for security, read from write to security storage devices, and interface visual applications like text editors, mail clients, web browsers, multimedia players, and games. In the beginning, I'm going to try and breeze through these people. The Holy Trinity, MIT, Bell Labs, and GE, created a system called Multics. And this is a nice flash from the past. Life was good. No, actually it wasn't. Multics was a commercial failure. So a couple of gentlemen, like Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie, who were not responsible for it, like to play games. They worked at Bell Labs, and they had this game called Space Travel, which performed really, really badly. So what do, actually, I'm sorry, it ran on the PDP-7. What's an assembler programmer to do when a game doesn't work properly on his hardware? He mods it. So in 1969, Ken Thompson and, Dennis Ritchie came out with a Unix system, Unified Information and Computing System. It was capable of supporting a number of users up to 2. And by 1970, Unix was officially known as UNIX, Unix. It ran on a PDP 1145 and was capable of text processing and had utilities like ROF and a text editor for the purpose of patents. By 1973, they rewrote Unix in a portable language called C, which allowed AT&T to make the source code available to let other people run it on their systems. By 1974, a gentleman by the name of Bob Fabry, who was at the University of Cal Berkeley in their computer science department, bought a copy of Unix for $99 to run on their PDP-11. By 1977, a gentleman named Bill Joy, a graduate student, distributed the Berkeley software distribution as one BSD. It was on a tape media, contained a Pascal compiler, the X editor, and by 1978 was known as 2BSD with BY, C shell, and the list goes on. By 4BSD, we had job control, deliver mail, the precursor to send mail, curses libraries. By 1981, 4.1 BSD. At this point, we already ported it to VAX. 4.1 BSD addressed a number of performance issues with Unix on the VAX. 1983, 4.2 BSD introduced TCP/IP from BBN, and also the Berkeley fast file system from a gentleman, Kirk McCusick, who also brought us the original BSD data. In 1986, 4.3 BSD introduced performance improvements over 4.2 BSD. By 1988, we had a release called 4.3 BSD Tahoe, originally intended to run on the Power 632 Tahoe platform. That platform actually never came to fruition, but it did allow us to abstract some of the machine-dependent code, which allowed it to become portable much later on. By 1989, there was Net1, which separated the networking code from the AT&T Unix code, allowing for a permissive BSD license. By 1990, 4.3 BSD Reno introduced a mock virtual memory system, some compatible NFS. However, it was known as a real gamble, hence the Reno moniker. By 1991, we had Net2, where all AT&T code and utilities were replaced or removed. It ran on the Intel 386 and became the basis for the 386 BSD and BSD 386 releases. A gentleman by the name of Bill Jolitz, behind the 386 BSD release, which eventually became the foundation for FreeBSD and NetBSD, and the the 386 BSD, which later on became BSD-OS, was by BSDI. Exodus. Back in 1992, a wholly owned subsidiary of AT&T called Unix System Laboratories decided to go after BSDI for, in New Jersey, asked for an injunction against them due to their use of what they considered proprietary code and the BSD. This was one of their advertising things. Again, they used this as the basis for the lawsuit. I have no idea what that's for. Net2 was basically, BSDI's version of BSD-OS was basically Net2 plus 6 files that they had merged in from Bill Jolitz's 386 BSD. The lawsuit was, the court settlement was brought over by a judge who denied the injunction and asked them to narrow their complaint to recent copyrights and the possibility of the loss of trade secrets. He also did a really great thing for BSD, is that he hinted that, actually by this point, the University of California, Berkeley had been also added into the lawsuit. Well, he gave a hint that they should take this to a state court. Well, so BSD lawyers were pretty smart over at Cal, and they decided to make a run over to the state court by the next Monday to file a countersuit against USL in the state of California. Soon after, USL went up for sale and was bought by Novell. The gentleman, Ray Niorda, the CEO at Novell, agreed to a settlement at this point because they understood that there was no copyright infringement or in the code. So basically, the lawsuit was settled out of court in secret for 10 years. In 2004, a site, Grok, which we're probably familiar with, found what the actual settlement was and released it. And, well, USL, AT&T, and Novell sort of had, was embarrassed, which ended up resulting in two distinct releases. 4.4 BSD, there was an encumbered version that had the USL license and the AT&T code, and 4.4 BSD Lite, which was completely unencumbered, and became the foundation for FreeBSD, NetBSD, FreeBSD, kind of jumped ahead there. FreeBSD, just to give a little background on the different BSDs that came out of 386 BSD. It runs on Intel x86, Titanium, AMD 64, Alpha, Sun Ultra Spark, and it gives us some neat features, jail, which most of us are familiar with, access control list, MAC, and historically has had very strong TCP/IP and SMP performance. The original NetBSD, which also came from 386 BSD, there were 50 hardware platforms from a single source tree, and that's pretty much what it's known for. To be honest, and I mean, you know, I got to admit I'm an OpenBSD guy. I was looking for really cool, innovative features from NetBSD, and I really couldn't find any. So we'll let them hang their hat on this. Sorry, I know people are going to jump me. I know the NetBSD users are going to jump me. I can handle two of you, okay? And this is a list of the hardware platforms that it's currently officially supported on, including a toaster. OpenBSD, this is one of the older logos. This is the new logo. It was forked from NetBSD 1.0. We won't go into the history there. Most people know it. And it's supported by, or it's supported on about 16 official platforms. These are about half of the most popular ones. And it comes out with a new release every 6 months, generally in May and November 1st. So if you haven't already, pick a copy that just came out at 4.0. It's motto, unofficial model, secure by default. Services are turned off. Only what's needed is running on the default installation. And some of their goals and features: full disclosure, audits, privilege separation and revocation, true jails like FreeBSD, random values wherever possible. I think PIZ is probably the most obvious example. ProPolice. Some other features that they've given us over the years: PF, OffPF, CARP, PSNP, which I think a number of these are probably in FreeBSD by now. Dragonfly BSD, logical continuation of FreeBSD 4.8. Again, Dragonfly BSD was a fork of FreeBSD 4.8 and was intended to basically overhaul the SMP features in FreeBSD 6 and 7, or 5, 6, and 7. Dragonfly is another example. If you look at their goals, they have some really neat technological stuff, but I can't find any features that really, mean anything. And of course, Tiger. Now, Tiger doesn't really count. It's, OSX. It started from the Darwin project, but it's sort of a inbred, so we won't really cover it. And then various others: MirBSD, PicoBSD, any number of other minor BSDs that are forked off. And this is sort of, I want to cover kind of the present where we are right now, some of the myths and truths. Why is BSD dying? Really, I mean, that's what the title of the project topic is. Well, first, because IDC says so. Market share for BSDs right now is at all-time low, under 1%. And of course, Netcraft confirms these findings. Last place in a sysadmin networking test, so we all know that we're just big losers. Because open source projects are giving away free software. I mean, we can't possibly make money, so that obviously means that we're dying. And free software equals terrorism. I've been waiting all day to say this. Let me get it out. Free software equals terrorism. Our inability to adapt As you can see by this graph, the number of Let's be serious here, people. Number of ASP net per pages per hour. So we see Windows, obviously. I mean, they're way ahead, people. Come on, they've been doing this for a number of, what, 15, 20 years. Linux is second. They actually are showing some. We presume that someone's doing obfuscation by renaming their pages .asp. And the BSDs don't even register, so we've got our work cut out for us. Loss of talent. FreeBSD has lost 93% of their core developers. Okay, come on, guys. Let's go. But not all is lost. Fortunately, a few very small companies still use BSD in this age. I know you probably haven't heard most of these. Believe it or not, this is our premier sponsor and some other company that didn't sponsor us. I should just end right there, because the rest of it isn't near as much fun. Seriously though, the technological challenges that we have ahead of us, virtualization, that's a big deal. And as far as market, of course, developers aren't really on market, so if that happens, that happens. Although Zen is really, really cool. DRM is obviously evil. Yes, I know. We don't care about DRM. Run Dell, right? Yes. Right. Political challenges. Now, this has been harped on today, but I can't beat this enough to death. People, blobs. All right, binary is bad. Don't do it. All right, you're smoking the same crack Linux is. NDAs and closed documentation. How many of us here are actual core developers for one of the BSDs? Okay, the rest of us, let's help them out. Okay, get in touch with your supplier. Let's get some documentation for these guys. Because without the diversity, we have unity and a common goal. Thank you.